Well, hello there, and welcome to our Q&A. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about my resources and, in particular, the AT parenting community. I try to do this about quarterly, every 3 months, to come on here, let you know about the AT parenting community because a lot of people don't know about it, and what resources I have available to you in general. So I am streaming this in lots of locations, just so that you know that this is going. We are on YouTube. We are in the series Facebook group. We are on the series website. We are in the public Facebook group, and we're on my page. So just trying to disseminate this information. For those of you that just have stumbled on my work and you don't really know me, that's possible. My name is Natasha Daniels, and I am an anxiety and OCD child therapist. And I provide global resources to parents who are raising kids with anxiety or OCD. And I support you globally online in so many different ways, and so many ways that people don't realize. Because I do have so many different things going on, people get confused. And unfortunately, because I've been doing this for so long, I've added lots and lots of stuff, which has added a little bit of confusion. So, a little bit more about me. I closed my private practice about 3 years ago after my husband suddenly passed away. And I've doubled down in providing more and more resources online and writing books and supporting you in that way. I am also raising 3 kids with anxiety and OCD. So that's fun. And I come to you with my own personal experience and my clinical experience as well. So my kids currently now are 12, 14, and 20. I have one that's in her second year of college at this point, and 2 that are still with me. So a lot of you were in my series that just ended, and I've invited you to the AT parenting community to join us, because the AT parenting community opens its doors about 4 times a year, sometimes in between if we have a wait list that's too big. And one of those times is right now. So I want to talk to you about the struggles that I see parents having and some of the resources that you can tap into to deal with those struggles. So one thing that I have found is that there are about 4 areas that parents with anxiety or OCD struggle with. And I'm going to go into them. I'm going to try to make this a little bit interactive. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, it's the work that I do comes from kind of a very personal place, because I am also raising my own kids with these struggles. And so I do get this as a parent, and I am very transparent with my own struggles and their struggles. And we use that as a way to build all of our skills. So the 4 areas that I've seen parents have since I've been doing this. I mean, I've been a therapist for over, I feel very old, for over 24 years. That's really scary. Had my private practice for, I think it was like 16 or 17 years when I closed it. And I've been doing the online stuff since 2015. So not totally 10 years, but I feel like I'm getting there. So a lot of time. And the main areas that I'm seeing parents struggle with is feeling alone. How many of you feel alone? You can leave it in the comments, so I feel like I'm talking to people. Feeling alone is the number one. It's a very isolating journey, or it can be if we don't know how to connect with people. The second one is finding appropriate therapeutic intervention. So finding a therapist. It is really hard to find a skilled and trained OCD pediatric therapist. Not as hard to find an anxiety therapist, but super hard to find an OCD therapist. And when you do find an OCD, when you do find a therapist, a lot of times you think that they understand OCD and you think they're trained in OCD, and they're not, and you find out too late. So that's a huge second barrier that I am trying to help in the world, educate even therapists. The third one is what is our role in this? So do you stumble, and you can leave in the comments yes or no, do you stumble with what's my role? What am I supposed to do to help my child? I know that maybe getting them the right therapist is key, but what am I supposed to do? And what if my child doesn't want to see a therapist? Or what if we can't afford a therapist? All these barriers. What's my role? So as far as isolation, some of you are like, yes, it's so isolating. You can resonate with that. I think there's a little delay in StreamYard because I'm asking questions and then you're answering my other question. So yeah, it could be very isolating. You cannot know what your role is. And the last one is, how do you support your child? and your child is feeling isolated, or your child is feeling shame around their anxiety or OCD, and how do you help them not feel alone? Because if we feel isolated, imagine how our kids feel, right? Super overwhelming. So that is like those are the areas that when I think about what I'm doing, what work I'm putting out there to support you, those are the things I'm trying to hit. I want you to not feel alone. I want you to know your role. I want you to know how to access good quality OCD and anxiety treatment. And I want your child to not feel alone. That's my goal. And I think that we can all feel those goals. Yes, really struggling with my role, right? So I provide resources to fill in those gaps. Some of my free resources, I want to mention those first because no matter where you are or what level of support you need or can afford, I do offer something for everybody. So I'll just briefly summarize some of my free things that are out there. I do have a crazy amount of free webinars, by the way, and maybe Ayla can link some of those. I mean, I have tons and tons of free webinars, but or maybe just our page that links the webinars. Maybe that's a good idea. And I have another free webinar coming out next week on how to foster independent skills. So I have a podcast that comes out every Tuesday called the AT Parenting Survival Podcast. You can find that wherever you consume your podcasts. And I have a YouTube channel. And so you can find me at, I think my handle is Natasha Daniels OCD Therapist, but Ayla can link. If you go to YouTube and you just Google like Natasha Daniels, my YouTube page will come up. And those videos are predominantly for kids, teens, and young adults, really anyone with anxiety or OCD to help support them. And that comes out every Thursday. So I make a podcast every Tuesday, available to anybody. I have over 350 episodes available on every topic. I have YouTube videos that come out every single Thursday for your kids, teens, and young adults. And those are coming out every Thursday. I have a website at atparentingsurvival.com that houses all of that. So if you're like, oh my gosh, that's very confusing, you got to love when your internet goes down. Thanks for sticking with me. I'm glad to see people are still here. Oh my gosh, so freaking annoying. All right, I hope that doesn't happen again. But if I do, just stay there and I will pop back on. Just be patient. So I wanted to tell you, so I talked to you about the podcast and the YouTube and my website and my webinars. Those are all available to anybody at any time. I want to talk to you about the AT parenting community because I want to go more in depth. People don't really understand what is all in the community and what it offers. I forgot to mention, I do have an online school at atparentingsurvivalschool.com. And those are on-demand courses that you can take at any time. And so those are there. People sometimes just want a quick course. They want to learn and they really don't want the community part or all the other things. But what happened is when I did my online school, people were reaching out and saying, I want to work more in depth with you. I want more weekly support. I want to talk to other parents. And so I have created the AT Parenting Community. Today is the 5-year anniversary of the AT Parenting Community. So we've been around for 5 years, and we typically have about 1,000 members, give or take. It just depends. People normally stay in there. So we have some members who have been there from the very beginning. And a lot of members come for about, I would say, 3 to 6 months. They get all the skills, they see progress. Some people leave. And then we have a lot of people that come back when they hit a bump. And I love that because it says something really great about our community, that people find it is their safe spot. It's their go-to when they need extra support. So we get a lot of people coming back and forth all of the time. So what's in it? Let's talk about that. I created it to fulfill those 4 areas that I was talking about. So let's go through those each one-on-one. And if you have questions as I'm going, feel free to leave them in the comments. So the first one is feeling alone. It's isolating. And yes, I do have a very large public free Facebook group that I'm actually streaming into right now. I think we have over 35,000 parents in there, maybe close to 36,000. I'm not sure. And maybe Ayla can link that for those of you that are not in that group right now. But that's a massive group. And I have people adminning that group to make sure it's kind and loving at 35,000. It's not an intimate group. So it's a great group if you need to crowdsource, or if you're like, hey, I have a question about treatment or treatment facilities or like big things. That's a fantastic group to ask, because you have 35,000 parents in there who have raised kids with anxiety and OCD, and they have answers. But if you want to really develop relationships and you want a cozy, intimate group, the AT Parenting Community group is much more, you get to really know people. There was a question there that I wanted to click on. So the monthly membership includes all this, or are there different membership subscriptions? So the monthly subscription, it's a $30 it's like a copay. I wanted it to be really, really affordable. So it's like a $30. I like to think of it as the same price as a copay. And you get all of this, you get all of the things I'm talking about, which I'm going to go into right now. And so we have in the AT Parenting Community weekly Zoom classes. We have monthly Zoom support group calls. You get free access to over $370 worth of my courses for free. You get access to the member portal where you can reach me and talk to me nonstop. And I'm going to go through all of this, but it's all included in the AT Parenting Community. And if you want to learn more about what's included and you want to visually see it as I'm talking about it, you can pull up the website at natashadaniels.com/AT community, or let's see, I think I have it here. atparentingcommunity.com is another one that you can go to. I just feel like I just lost all my comments. Hold on a second. So it will walk you through that so you can kind of see what is available. I just joined, looking forward to getting help and support. Well, I'm excited to meet you, Erica, and we will have we'll have a new member Zoom call next week on Friday. And so you'll learn more about that as we send you emails and let you know what's going on. But I want to go through kind of in depth about all the things that you get in the AT Parenting Community and how it helps. So the first one we're talking about is feeling alone. So there is a member-only Facebook group for AT Parenting Community members, and there's about 1,000 parents in there. I think we probably have about 1,300 members right now, maybe 1,100. I don't know. The number is always changing, but we have about 1,000 in the Facebook group. But I think this is a really important thing to hear. You do not need to be on Facebook at all in order to be part of the community. The community is not a Facebook group. It is not Facebook based. We have a Facebook group because people like Facebook, but you do not need to be on Facebook at all. So we do have a member only Facebook group. People try to join, you have to be a member in order to join that. And that's more of an intimate group. That group is there to support, it's for the parents to support other parents. It's a social group for parents to get advice from other parents. I come in there once a week to talk about our challenges and our wins, but it's really for the parents to support parents. In our member website, so we have a member website that is separate from my main public website. This is a logged in website. You log in to access, and it's got a crazy amount of stuff. But I do have videos to walk you through things, and I don't want you to consume everything at once. I always tell people, don't get overwhelmed with it. It's a lot of stuff because I want everything at your fingertips, but we're going to guide you through what you need. One of the best things I actually personally think is on the member website is the forums. And so the forums is kind of like a board, a messaging board where you can write a question and I get emailed directly that somebody has posted on the board. And we have different topics on different boards, but really it's a direct warm line to my clinical expertise. And so if you have been consuming my stuff, listening to my podcast, watching my YouTube videos, and you're like, oh my gosh, I could get like Natasha's opinion on this. I could be like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. And I could like type her and she would just be like, let's walk through this together. And, I often ask you a lot of questions like, well, what's this going on? And let's talk about this. And um, that's actually very helpful. And so there's a lot of parents who are like, well, for $30 a month, just to be able to get like a warm line, like clinical expertise on tap. I'm not your therapist, but I am a therapist and I will help support you. Um, that's gold for a lot of people who can't really access that. And so that's just something to remember. I think a lot of parents find that is the biggest value. And I actually would think so as well, just to be able to have someone on tap. Um, the other thing is we do the support group calls. And so everything we do now is on Zoom because I think it's more stable than Facebook. And I think it allows people to access things that people don't want to be on Facebook all the time. And so we have a support group for parents once a month. And that's just a video call where, and you don't have to have your camera on if you don't want to, where parents can support each other. We also have a kid support group call once a month and a teen support group call once a month. And I moderate them myself. I, make sure that it's nice. The kids are giving each other clinically sound suggestions. If they're not, I will intervene. And these are very, very kind, compassionate kids. We are just really lucky to have both groups are amazing. We have some kids who have been in there for a really long time. We get new kids every month. And that's a great resource too. So sometimes parents are just like, I just want the support group. Like I can't find a support group for my kids. Or they watch Natasha on YouTube, and to have a support group with Natasha moderating, they might listen to that. And so there's lots of reasons why parents are just wanting the support group. What I find in the AT parenting community, and you can ask me any questions about it if you have them as you're listening, is normally there's like one or two aspects of the community that people want. And so most parents don't use all of what's available in the AT parenting community because there is so much available. But there's normally one or two things that they're like, this is gold. And so I'd like to warn people who join, you're not gonna tap into every resource. So don't feel like I'm not using it to its fullest, because even if you're just using the support group call, well, support group calls can actually be rather expensive, especially when they're moderated by a therapist. And so just even tapping into those is great value. All right, so moving on from there, and let me know if you have any questions about that. Moving on from there, the second struggle that I saw a lot of parents having is they can't access help. There are barriers to care. They can't find an OCD therapist near them. They can't find treatment options. There's no treatment options in their country or in their state. Their insurance doesn't cover it and they can't afford it. Their child's not willing to go. They don't know where to go. They don't know how to go. Lots of barriers to getting that support. And so we fill in the gaps. And I think it's really important to be able to fill in the gaps for you, because waiting for professional care, we don't have time for that, because the earlier that we start to give our kids help, the better. And so waiting until you get off that wait list or waiting until you get that call is wasting time. There are things that we could be doing in the interim. Natasha, one of my sons is 22 and he's learning difficulties. Which group would be best for him to join? Unfortunately, and that's a great question. Unfortunately, our support group calls are just for kids. It's 7 to 11 or 12. And then the teen one is like 12. And we're like flexible with the ages, 12 to 18. And so we don't have adult support groups because the International OCD Foundation does so many support groups for adults that it's not as needed. And honestly, I started the community with no support group calls. Then we added the parents. The parents wanted to add kids. So we added the kids, and the parents wanted kids and teens to be separated. So we added teens. And I've stopped with young adults. I'm not going to do young adults. We do have a lot of parents, though, who join the community for the support for themselves, and they are raising young adults. So we have a lot of parents in there who are raising young adults. We have a lot of parents who are raising toddlers. We have a lot of parents who are raising elementary school. So we have like a really good range. And we have parents who have kids um, who actually also have lots of multiple diagnoses. So we have parents in there who have pandas and pans. My son has pans. We have parents who are in there who have kids who are autistic and have anxiety or OCD. We have kids who have sensory processing disorder and anxiety or OCD. So we have a lot of ADHD and anxiety or OCD. We have a lot of combinations, and we cover a lot of those extra stuff as well. So you're definitely welcome to join the community if you have a young adult. Just know that we won't have a support group specially for them. So thank you for bringing that up, because that is something good to mention. So the access to help, what I do to fill in the gaps is I gift you free access to one of my main foundational classes. So I have courses that is totally separate in my AT parenting community. AT Parenting Survival School. Let me not confuse you more. So my school is totally separate. My school is totally separate from the AT Parenting community, but I gift you access to some of those courses. We will actually create a personalized coupon code for you to get that for free while you're a member. And so, how to teach kids to crush OCD, how to teach kids to crush anxiety, how to handle difficult behavior caused by anxiety or OCD, how to remove accommodations through the SPACE program. These are all courses that you get free access to as a member. And so, normally, the first thing I start to tell parents if they're really wanting to roll up their sleeves is take the course and then ask me questions, because you're going to know so much more in depth about anxiety or OCD when you take the course, which is under 3 hours, and then I can talk to you in a more advanced way. And so the biggest compliment I've gotten recently is a therapist that I really respect in California said that she gets a lot of the families from AT parenting community. And she said, you know what? I love when I get an AT parenting community family, because they come in so educated and they come in so excited about working on things. And I can skip ahead because they already have the foundational stuff because of the courses and because of the classes that we teach. So I do love that. We also do weekly live classes on Zoom. You guys vote on the topic, and then I teach you in Zoom. And normally those classes are really tiny. We might have 5 parents. We might have 15 parents. And so they're very intimate. And then the second half of the class, I open it up and you guys can ask me any questions. So you really get very personalized support from me and from the other parents in the community. This sounds great. I'm in Hawaii. I love Hawaii and have not been able to access therapists who are familiar with OCD for children. I have 2 kids diagnosed by a board certified psychiatrist who moved off the island. I could really use conversation with people who understand OCD. Yeah, and you'll definitely get, the parents in our community are so seasoned and are really experts in their own right, because they've been learning from me and other resources. And a lot of them have been on the journey for a while. And so you do get surrounded by just this great support, educated support. And that we also have a parent connection program and a buddy program for kids, where we try to connect you guys to take that connection offline. And so if you're looking for someone in your area, we actually have members in all 50 states and in Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand, Egypt. We have members in some Asian countries. We have members all over the world, but we have members in all 50 states. So we do have people from Hawaii there, and we have created a kind of like a Google Doc to connect people so that they can make connections offline as well. So hopefully that will help. So besides the live weekly Zoom classes and the monthly support group calls and your free access to all of my some of my courses, you get the big ones and some of the little ones I've gifted you as well. There are some other things, and so sometimes parents don't know their role to help, and this is kind of where the forums come in, because parents will. It is my full-time job now, so Monday through Friday, and honestly on the weekends probably a lot of the time as well. I try to be like Monday through Friday, like 8 to 4:30, but if I'm not doing anything and I see something pop up at 10 p.m., I might answer it. And so a lot of times it really is me on tap for sure, unless I'm traveling. And even when I'm traveling, I will still, within 24 hours, get back to everybody. But if you're like, I've had parents who will message me in the forums and they'll just be like, he's doing this and I don't know if I should pull back or what I should be doing. I don't see the therapist for another 2 weeks. What would you do? And it's just a really helpful way to help define what your role is in that moment and what you can do. We also do classes on your role. We talk about your role. Um, I'm kind of like a mindset cheerleader for you a lot of times in the AT parenting community. So you really get an idea of what am I supposed to be doing and what is my child supposed to be doing? How do I get there? I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I feel like people don't get fuzzy on their role once they get started in the AT parenting community. And it does take about 3 months to really dig in and get all those resources, but you really start to define. I see new members become kind of leaders in the community after about 3 or 4 months. And then they are starting to educate other members. And it's a beautiful thing to actually see. Same thing with the kids. I see that in the support group call, that they're getting all the support from everybody else. And then 3, 4 months into it, they're the ones supporting the new kids. And I love that. It's so good. Speaking of kids, the last thing that becomes a struggle is, they feel alone. And a lot of times parents will say, they don't want to work on it. We actually just did a class on barriers to motivation. And I think that was our live class last week. Maybe, I have no memory. This week, we're going to be talking about how to find a good anxiety or CD therapist, or how to know if you have a good anxiety or CD therapist, just to give you an idea of what kind of live weekly classes we have. But last week, we talked about barriers to motivation. And one of the barriers is feelings of shame, feelings of isolation. And I suggested to a lot of parents, invite your kids to join the support group call, and they don't have to have their video on or their audio on. They can just listen. And even just hearing other kids talk about their struggles is very validating, and it really helps people not feel alone. And so we do that. That's one way to make that connection. I also create videos. I have a library of videos that I made just for the community that are not on YouTube, that really came from the request. I've had parents who are like, oh my gosh, I wish you had a video on this. And because they're a member, I'll say, I'll create one and I'll upload it to our library of videos. And so we have videos for parents and videos for kids that are just for members. And so sometimes it's nice when you're like, you have a particular issue with your child and you're like, if only there could be a video on it. And then I create one, and then the child's like, how is there a video about this particular issue? And it's like, well, we kind of did it for you, but it helps, right? And we have the buddy program. So the buddy program, and this is actually really cool too, because I didn't really think, I guess I never thought the impact of the buddy program too much. And recently, maybe a couple of months ago, some of the teens were talking in the support group call, and they were talking about social anxiety and talking about how it's hard to make friends. And a couple of them said, all of my really good friends have come from the buddy program. And those are people that I talk to on a daily basis. They support me. They get me. And I was so touched by that. A couple of them have met in person, even though they're across state lines, and they've purposely in the summer got together, and the parents got together. So my hope is that this community is a launching pad to connect you in person, connect you to local resources, connect you to local families, to take this offline and be a support outside of the computer. So that's why I love hearing that kind of stuff. It's really good. If you have any questions about it, please feel free to leave a comment. That's pretty much what's in the AT parenting community. So it's a website, weekly Zoom classes, everything is on a replay. So because our live classes are in the middle of the day on a Friday, not everybody's going to be able to join that, but we make sure that you get the topic ahead of time. You can submit questions ahead of time. So even if you're never able to show up live for any of the things that we do, you will be able to watch the replay, and I will speak directly to you. I will answer your question in that class, regardless of whether you're able to be present. So there is an interactive component no matter what you are able to commit to. And so we have a whole library of our classes, because you can access every class we've ever done. So there's hundreds and hundreds of classes, and we have a search button on our website where you can just type in your topic, and you have all these in-depth resources that will really come in handy when you're having a crisis and you're like, I just need to know about this particular thing. Oh my gosh, there's all this stuff on this topic. And some parents are like, I'm just going to message Natasha in the forums, and then I will just help you directly. So lots of free access in that way too. Well, if you don't have any questions, I want to let you know that the doors are open now, and you can join at natashadaniels.com/AT parenting community, or you can go to, where is it? atparentingcommunity.com. And so feel free to check it out, learn more about it. from there. There's a video on that website of parents who have been through the program, who have been members, and the benefits that they found. If this isn't the right time for you, that is okay. The doors for this period of time close on Thursday. So January 25th, this Thursday, at 9 p.m. Pacific time, the doors will close so that we can focus our attention on the members that are there. It can get very distracting when you have people coming in and out all of the time. And that is why we open it up. We do a new member Zoom call. I saw that a lot of you from the series have already started to join the AT parenting community. I'm seeing a lot of names that were over there for my free series. And we are doing a new member Zoom call to just get to meet you, talk to you about how to best use the community. We are doing that next Friday. And you should get an email. The link is in your welcome email. So you should be getting an email from us when you join. If you're not, let us know. If you're ever having any issues, you can email Ayla at atparentingsurvivalhelp@yahoo.com. And we'll support you with that. But you should have gotten a welcome email, and then every Sunday we send a newsletter. And that way you don't have to keep track of all the things I'm creating. You don't have to keep track of what the topic is for that week. You don't have to keep track of anything. Every Sunday you get an email from the AT parenting community, if you want it, that will say, this is all the new things that happen in the community. Here are the links to our support group calls. Here's the links to sign up for the Zoom class. If you can't make it, you can just hit reply and let us know. And so the new member Zoom link to register is also on that. And so you can check that out. That is just a great thing that we have started to do so that I can see your faces and I can meet you and you can meet me and I can get to know you better to support you. Sorry, I'm working and trying to listen to this. How often do the kids have meetings? So they meet once a month. They meet once a month and they wanted to meet more often. And so we created the buddy program so that they can meet new people through the buddy program, and then they can meet offline or talk to somebody in between, but it is once a month. The parents, we meet once a week. Their classes for 3 of the weeks, and then it's a support group call for the final one. And the support group calls on Saturday, and the classes are always on Fridays, unless I'm traveling. So if no one else has any questions, or if you watch this on replay, feel free to leave a comment and I'll get tagged and I will answer, or Ayla will answer. I look forward to meeting some of you in the AT parenting community. It's always just such an honor to be able to be on people's journeys and watch them grow and hear about people. And now that it's been 5 years since I started it, it's just very cool to have seen someone when they were little, they're 10 and now they're 15, and see the growth and development that I had a part in, that the community had a part in. And so there's nothing greater than that. So I hope that you check it out. And if you're not able to meet, to join us this time around, we'll be back probably where are we? In the spring, we'll come back and we'll open the doors again, or you can get on the wait list and check out my podcast and my YouTube channel, or check out my courses in between. And I hope that you guys have a great day. All right, take care. Bye.